Are you looking to eat healthier but don't know where to start? Are you looking to improve your weight situation either by lowering it or maintaining it? Are you looking to eat healthy, exciting, new recipes to impress your group of friends and stick it to that one friend who's always baking cakes and muffins and making everyone in the office gain weight? How about butter bean and veg stew or spicy falafel with roasted virgin hummus? Well guys, are you in for a treat today? Welcome everyone to the Frontier of Knowledge podcast. Today I am joined by Melanie Leyshon and Amanda Ursell. Melanie is the editor of Healthy Food Guide magazine and Amanda is a registered dietitian and nutritionist. So, grab some fruit, grab some veg, sit back, relax and enjoy the podcast. Hi there everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Frontier podcast, the Frontier of Knowledge podcast. Today I'm joined by Amanda Ursell and Mel Leyshon, sorry about that. If you guys want to give a bit of introduction to yourselves and what you do, I'm sure that...
Okay, I'm Melanie Leyshon and I'm editor of Healthy Food Guide magazine, which is a magazine about diet and health and healthy eating, and I've been editor for 5 years and I've seen a big surge in an interest in health and nutrition in that time, from sugar to fat to how many other new fad diets. So it's a very dynamic part of the market and very interesting to work in. And it's a monthly magazine. You'll find it on the newsstand, and we've got a website as well.
Awesome.
And my name's Amanda Ursell and I am a nutritionist, and I met you at Oxford Brookes University because I work as a visiting fellow at Oxford Brookes, so it was great to be talking to the MSc students last week, which is how we met.
Yeah.
And I've been working with Mel now for 4 months as nutrition editor of Healthy Food Guide, so it's been a really interesting few months getting used to working for a monthly magazine because I'm used to working for daily newspapers, so it's very different.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because, as Melanie said, it's a magazine that's it's dictated by a philosophy to stick to proper nutritionists, qualified nutritionists and qualified dietitians.
Amen to that.
Yeah, which is not like a lot of magazines that are being launched in the market at the moment.
Yeah.
I think people see the health market, especially the magazine market, as a get-rich-quick venture, so they drop in with magazines that come for a couple of months and thankfully disappear with their empty promises, which is why we feel that we're the benchmark for nutrition. And it's great having Amanda on board and to have an in-house dietitian and nutritionist. So,
Well, guys, you have so you guys are basically up there in terms of nutrition and media. You have a lot to contribute then, and you have quite a large reach of people who you can communicate with.
I mean, Amanda could be writing a blog every day for our website on different stories that are in the media, from should we give up potatoes, which was last week's crazy story, to quitting sugar. Some people are quitting sugar, people are very confused about different types of sugar. Every day brings a new health issue, and I think we're in the best place to guide people.
That's really good. I think more people need to do what you guys are doing, kind of having that expertise in nutrition in a magazine, like we were discussing earlier. Other magazines don't really have that, where they'll have kind of generic, non-expert kind of people having an opinion. I mean, which they're entitled to, but I think those kind of opinions should come from people in the field who are experts and give informed information to people who really need it.
I think it's difficult because nutritionist, as we know, is an unprotected title. So anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, and they won't be sued for it, and they won't be taken to court for it. If you were to do that as a physiotherapist or a nurse, you just can't. You just can't do that. So it does leave the area wide open to misinformation and abuse, really. And often it's not intended to be misleading or harmful, but a lot of people just don't understand the difference, and
it's fake nutrition, isn't it, basically?
Definitely.
And you get people who've just maybe studied it for a month or two, who are advising people with quite not extreme nutrition problems, but maybe celiacs or people even with eating disorders, and they're giving them advice which is quite flaky, and that's a worry.
In many ways, I think I would, if there's any blame to be laid, it's at the doorstep of the people running these courses, because the people going on them often truly believe they've been educated in the world of nutrition. And I think the thing that separates people who've studied for a degree in nutrition from those who haven't is that you learn how to look at evidence and put it in context and have a sense of perspective on the relevance of a study, and how to read a study, and how to convey that to a reader in a context that makes sense.
And even critique that study, even.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we're working at the moment, we've got some new columnists and they're trainee dietitians. They've got their own website called Fight the Fab. And they've been writing for us. They've just finished their second article for our May issue, and what's interesting is that the way they put together quite coherent arguments, very compelling research. They research what they do properly, so even though they're trainees and they're late in their degree, it makes for very interesting reading, and you trust what they say. So that was a real good find from Amanda, actually.
Yeah.
Brought them on board.
Well, I did tell you that you've got to do.
I took that advice on board.
Whenever I give talks to students, I always say you can't just sit there and moan about people who are churning out misinformation if you're not prepared to get up and do it yourself.
No, I completely agree, and that's one of the reasons why I thought, okay, so I only started my podcast actually 3 weeks ago, so it's very new. So I always had this idea that I was going to do this kind of thing, but I never actually did it until when my lecturer said that we need to get on Twitter, get on social media, we need to do this kind of thing. And then Amanda came in and motivated me even more, and I thought, okay, so now I'm definitely going into this full course, and this is something I really want to do.
Well done.
So thank you. It was thanks to you.
And it's very important what you put on social media, because obviously it's almost like printed now, isn't it? Because you can label people as Katie Hopkins was is it Hopkins or Hopkinson last week, and
the lady from
the Daily Mail.
Yeah, Daily Mail, that's it.
Who's forked out, was it £24,000, and her legal fees.
That's crazy.
For libelling Jack Monroe, who's a sort of food cook.
Yeah.
Who's done recipe books.
Wow.
So you have to be careful.
Yeah, you do, and I think what you were saying earlier about having it as a having the term nutritionist, having what's the word I'm looking for? Protected, having it protected is very important, because anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. Doesn't mean they actually are. I mean, I could learn accountancy for a month and I couldn't call myself an accountant, not by any sense at all. So, and I think when people do read these things, and when I hear people talk about they can't eat gluten, I always wonder, I'm like, do you have celiac disease, or are you just not eating gluten because you think it's not good for you? And I always convey that to people. And
the problem with giving it up is, if you are celiac and you give it up partially, because it's very hard to give it up properly, and then you go for a proper test with your doctor, you can get a false negative. So actually your results could be skewed by having half-heartedly given it up because you thought you might be. So there's a danger to just kind of giving things up without actually knowing whether you really need to or not.
Self-diagnosis is not great, especially if it's compounded by a fake nutritionist who's giving you bad advice.
It's just like those people who sit there, I feel really bad, I think I'm having a heart attack, go on WMD. You have symptoms of heart disease, you're going to be dying.
Dr. Google.
That's good. So how did you guys get into nutrition? How did you first get into this path?
I suppose I came from it from a different direction to Amanda, because obviously I'm a journalist first and an editor first, and I'd always worked in food.
Okay.
And I worked in Good Food magazine for many years, and then on Food and Travel, and then I became more interested in healthy eating.
Okay.
And this opportunity came up, so I brought the skills from being a journalist and sort of acknowledging what a good story might be or how to rewrite, and then I rely on experts like Amanda to bring me the stories and be able to interpret them, so that's how it works.
That's really cool. What about yourself, Amanda?
It's very important, I might just say, to have a really steady hand at the top of the tree when it comes to a magazine, and Mel does have that a great sense of perspective on what needs to be in it. Myself, I was 11 years old when I decided I wanted to be in the world of nutrition, inspired by my home economics teacher, Mrs. Chapman. Yeah, she told us to make a cup of cocoa, and we all kind of went, oh no, that's not very complicated, is it? And then she said we had to leave it and make the skin form because we all groaned even more.
Yeah.
And then she said, why is the skin formed? And we went, oh, I don't know, Mrs. Chapman. And she said, well, it's something to do with the protein in the milk and the heat from the pan, and it's coagulated and blah, blah. So I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And then she said, what's it got in it? And she started gnashing her teeth and flashing her nails at us. And we all thought she'd completely lost the plot, and she said, oh, it's got something that's good for your nails and teeth. And she said it's called calcium. And that was the moment I decided I wanted to be a nutritionist. I couldn't believe there was something in this drink that was going to make your nails grow and your teeth strong.
Gosh, that's why they should be teaching nutrition again in schools. Then that's
well, they do a little bit. I mean, my children are 9 and 7, and they have had lessons on healthy eating. And to start with, I thought, oh my goodness, do they really need to be aware of it? They're very young. But actually, when they start using things like the Sugar Smart app and things like that, they actually do get quite interested in it, and they are capable of learning about it. And whereas when we were little, your mum just put the dinner in front of you and you ate it, unfortunately or fortunately, there is a noise around this subject now. In some ways, I think, they should be protected from all of that. But of course, they do have to be. They are out in the modern world in a way that we weren't. But all our food was chosen for us. But now, younger and younger children are having to make choices themselves, so they do probably need to know about it. Because I did think, this is such a pity. Do they really need to know about fats and sugars and things like that we had no concept of? We knew that we were only allowed sweets once a week, but that was it.
That's about a day.
Yeah.
Back in the days, we went to the top shop and bought everything 6 pieces of things for £1. It was.
But now I think probably arming children with some facts is probably quite a good idea. It's a necessity.
Definitely.
It's a shame, but I think it is really important. And I feel that they are quite capable of absorbing an awful lot of information and probably then applying it from a relatively young age. I mean, they're always going to want cakes and biscuits and sweets,
of course.
but I think it unfortunately, as I say, I think it probably is a necessity these days.
No, I completely agree.
That's what we're championing at Healthy Food Guide as well, is that we're running a competition, healthy lunchbox competition for schools to enter, so primary schools and secondary schools up to the age of 14, because we want, as Amanda says, children to make informed choices about what they have for lunch and how that affects their energy throughout the day. And we've had some lovely entries from young children, say as young as 6, and they've drawn their lunchbox. They can't spell pineapple or even banana, but they can draw them, and it's really interesting to see, and it's good to encourage and empower them, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I think giving children the freedom and the power to kind of help themselves is really good. I mean, it's all good to tell them that you can't eat this or you can't eat that, but it's not really educating them.
No.
And I think that
having the sugar app and seeing that there are all these sugar cubes worth of sugar in your fizzy drink is amazingly powerful. Whether that translates into them not having one, I don't know, but it's very interesting watching their little faces. Oh my god!
Well, Amanda did a lunchbox card for us that went out with the magazine that had how many portions of protein you should have, how many portions of carb and fruit and veg in your lunchbox. So it was a lesson in itself, really, wasn't it? It was fun.
That's really good. Yeah, I think it's really good to encourage kids to do this kind of thing. I think when you encourage them to do these little activities, it engages them more, and they can think about all these things. Because when I was a kid in primary school, we were always taught about the dangers of smoking and alcohol at a very young age. I think nutrition should be in that as well, as part of the curriculum. Not anything too depth like the stuff we learn, obviously, because quite often to comprehend, but even just the basics, like what is the type of carbohydrate or a type of protein and different sorts of things. Definitely.
I think the government is quite keen, aren't they, for teenagers to leave school knowing at least 10 proper savoury recipes. And I think that's a really good aim to have. And because when I did home economics at school, we did jam tarts, we did the Christmas cake, I think the healthiest thing we did was cheese and potato pie, and that was it. Everything else was sweet. and cakes, and it would be great to see that move towards healthy chilies or a vegetable lasagna, so people can cook when they go to college.
It's a really good idea, just have a repertoire, because they say people put on a stone, don't they, in the first year of university, or something like that. It's quite a lot of work.
I've got a lot more than that.
because they just don't know how to cook. And,
Well, actually, I did know how to cook. It's just that when I did it, I went through a stage of trying to gain as much mass as possible for weightlifting. So for me, the challenge was to put on weight. So that was quite difficult for me in that sense.
Yeah, I think there's schools where I live, and they have a problem, not a problem, but lots of boys take protein powders and they build up muscle. Then obviously once they stop doing the weights, then it just
disappears.
So that's another challenge. Yeah.
How old are they, Mal?
Well, I think they're 16, 17, and they're at school, and obviously these schools have got proper gyms.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? Because actually all they need to do is have a banana and a glass of milk, and they'd be just as well off after.
I know, definitely. See, for many years, I didn't touch any of the supplements and stuff, just because I didn't need to. I got all my nutrients through food, and I genuinely believe 100% that you can get everything from food. I think supplements, they're not really needed, but you can take them for someone who is, struggling.
Vitamin D, I think, obviously there's an exception there.
Oh no, definitely,
and B12 if you're vegan.
Definitely, I think that.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not so sure I agree with you in some cases. For example, young girls, if they're switching to a vegetarian or vegan sort of diet from an omnivorous diet, and even actually if they're eating an omnivorous diet, loads of young girls are not reaching their RNI for recommended nutrient intake for iron and calcium. So I would rather have an insurance policy as saying, well, give them a supplement. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you've got an intransit girl who's not going to have milk or milk alternative or any other form of good source of calcium, then for me, actually, it's better to give them a supplement, because they've only got a very small window of opportunity to build up their bone density until they're 21, and then it's bang, that's it, it's finished.
I know, I didn't know that till I was, 40, that was the case. I wish I'd known when I was younger. But
well, I wish I'd known that when I was younger, absolutely, because if I'd known that I'd only had that really, that really small window of opportunity, I think I would have probably done something to. In my day, it would have to be milk, because you didn't have fancy fortified oat milk and stuff like that.
No, I definitely agree on that sense. I think, but one of the main things I think is that people don't do is get a varied diet. So I mean, whether you're in a vegetarian diet, a vegan diet, or just non-omnivorous diet, the whole point is to get be varied. So I mean.
It's hard though, isn't it, in real life, because you get. I mean, did you see that survey recently where people have the same lunch every day, and the
ham sandwich? That was the go-to default. Ham sandwich.
And I have to say, I'm slightly guilty of that myself. I get into a routine of doing. I probably only do 10 different dinners, to be absolutely honest with you, on a 2-weekly basis, and you kind of do just get into a bit of a rut.
I think as well, it's looking at recipes sometimes that you only need in a list to have one ingredient. You think, I haven't got that, to think, oh well, I'll go back to my
default.
My beans on toast.
And actually, banging the drum for the magazine for Healthy Food Guide, we do have some fantastic recipes in there which I have been inspired by the wonderful chef who's able to put together dishes that we have to be really aware that they're low in salt and sugar and saturated fats and not overly high in calories. And I think our chef Phil Mundy does a brilliant job, don't you?
It does, and I think going back to the core ingredients, sort of, which are almost a lot of plant-based, aren't they? They make for very satisfying meals. So I'm always surprised how big the portions are,
and how that's really. I just think that's a really important part of satiety, and you're actually feeling that you're getting a good sized meal. It's really the plate fill is really important psychologically, and one of the things that we're looking at, isn't it, Mel, is the whole psychology of eating, and we've got Dr. Jason Michael Thomas, who's from Birmingham Aston University, who's a new columnist, and who's looking at the psychological side of eting and things that influence us. We've looked at the cake culture in offices and peer pressure.
There's definitely something to that.
How to arm yourself to deal with this modern world, because it's not easy. We've interviewed Jenny Rosborough, who's the campaign manager at Action on Sugar, and I won't tell you too much about her article because it's going to be in a later edition. But she's an expert, and we're experts, and we find it hard to always to find the hidden sugars and the added sugars and all the rest of it. And I think it's really important to be armed psychologically in today's contemporary world of excess calories and excess nutrition to be able to navigate your way through.
I think what I've really learned since I've been at Healthy Food Guide is how a good diet affects how you feel about yourself as well as how you look, and how a proper diet throughout the day can energise you and improve your brain and give you energy to exercise properly, whereas maybe 10 years ago my diet was a bit more
calorie based.
Yes, and more grab and go and a lot more carb in the evening. I'm not saying low carb, but too much carb, and portion sizes. I think as Amanda would say, portion sizes are a problem for so many people. We just cook too much, eat too much.
Yeah, and we were talking about when you look back at, you'll be far too young for this, Tash, but when you look back at a series of things like Faulty Towers, which were in the 70s.
I watched a few episodes.
Yeah, if you look at those the actresses are tiny. Yeah. But in that day, that was normal. Yeah. So you put a sitcom on now, or a comedy, it's quite likely that the average person in that will be much bigger than they were in the 1970s. So it's become normal. So I think we were talking about this at Oxford the other day. I was tweeting something about this new study that came out that said, are people just not bothering to lose weight now because the social norm is bigger than it was? So people compare themselves to their next door neighbour, the person sitting next to work, whoever their contemporaries are, and say, oh well, actually I'm fine. I don't need to lose weight. And I was fascinated about, it was about 10 years ago, I was in America. And I remember watching an advert on television. This young lad came on. He didn't have his top on. He was brushing his teeth, and I thought it was going to be an advert for toothbrushes or
some sort of dental.
What did I think? No, I thought it was going to be a weight loss advert. That's right. And it wasn't. It was toothpaste.
Okay.
And he was. You would have said that lad was overweight if you've seen him, and that was obviously normal. 10 years ago, that was completely normal for this 13, 14-year-old boy to be visibly overweight, but advertising toothpaste, which really weird. But it's interesting. That was the norm. That was clearly the social norm. So, and they were just reflecting what was going on in society. It was fascinating, and it kind of shows you where we are.
I think in terms of that, I think it's such a. If you start saying that the norm is now this, so say if over a certain period of time, the BMI average goes up. So now the healthiness. A healthy BMI is 26 or 27. That's not where we should be at, I think, and because of that, it's just going to keep accelerating. So we were doing nutritional transition not long ago in lectures, and I had to do an essay on it. And so some of the third world countries like Chile, places like Brazil, Mexico, some of the places there, they have 50, I think it's 53 or 54% of their population is overweight and obese. And because of that, I think we need to kind of transition back down into what is healthy and how to get an optimal weight going, because if not, they're going to keep accelerating excess, and it's going to come along with such bad, terrible consequences in terms of health, and it's going to cripple our health service massively, and it's already happening, I think. So I think with what you guys are doing in terms of healthy food and stuff is kind of drawing back people's perception of it and kind of shifting us back to what we should be eating, really.
And I think it's realistic. We're not saying be, as thin as a model.
No, of course,
or anything like that. It's just becoming a healthy weight for your frame and being aware now of your waist measurement rather than your BMI as well.
No, of course.
So, we're hoping that we can shift more people into that zone.
Yeah.
So, with your help, with your podcast.
Hopefully, people listen to it. So, what does nutrition mean to you guys exactly? Because when I speak to nutritionists and people who are in this kind of subject, they all have kind of slightly different ideas of what nutrition is to them.
I suppose for me it's broader maybe than for Amanda in that it's eating well. I just say it's eating well to not just fuel your body, but to have the best quality of life that you can have.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think when I left university, I think I was very much into nutrients. I'd look at a plate of food and I'd see the protein, the carbs, and the minerals and the vitamins and the fibre. And then I met a lot of chefs through the Guild of Food Writers. And I always remember coming out of a loo once in a big hotel where there was a big event, and I heard these ladies discussing the beauty of this main course dish, and I thought, oh my goodness, I've completely lost touch with food as a source of joy. And it was a really interesting moment for me, because I suddenly thought, oh my word, I've got to get back to realising that food is something to be pleasurable and to be eaten, because you can get a bit kind of into your nutrition to the point where, yes, and understandably when you study nutrition, of course, that does tend to happen. So I think that opened it up to me, and I very much feel that food is about a lifestyle, it's about enjoyment, it's about, I think one of the sad things is if you know, the fact that people don't sit down now and eat together. So for example, probably if we were in a Mediterranean style country, we would all stop for lunch, but we don't do that. We plough on through and we eat at our desks, and we eat hunch day, and we eat from bits of polystyrene that we've got our lunch in, and
plastic fork.
And that's a huge pity, I think, because I think you lose a sense of cohesion in a group of people, and I think if you sit down, you exchange ideas, you relax, you can, you know, and that is a pity, but that happens everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but a lot, I think. So it would be great if we could have a bit more of that going on with food.
Food and conversation. Along with the meal, it's like going to a restaurant, they bring out the food really quickly, and you think, oh no, I wanted to stop, I wanted to be, I want it to be an occasion rather than just the food. And I think going back to food and hunger, we don't feel hungry anymore, a lot of us, because we just we feel hungry a lot of the time because we're comfort eating, or we're bored, or
I was talking to Jason recently about snacking, and how, you know, that there's absolutely no harm in actually not having snacks between meal, and how that can have an enormous impact on one's health, just literally by cutting out snacking, even healthy snacks, that actually that can have a massive impact on your overall intake of calories. And
as you can imagine, that's an occupational hazard in our office. We're surrounded by healthy bars and nuts and cereals and porridge, and
we had one made from cricket flour last week, didn't we?
Cricket flour.
That was a challenge.
As in like insects.
As in jumpy, hoppy insects.
Cricket flour. How does that?
Well, we've got an article about bugs.
Interesting. Because
there is a huge kind of surge in popularity, and of course there's large parts of the world where bugs are completely
of course, they eat them,
acceptable part of the diet,
good source of protein for some places, and
absolutely
great abundance of them, and
and understandably they're very popular in parts of the world, but
the jury was split on the bug bars, I think.
Well, to be honest, if you're going to have food, it's got to taste good, and if you create a bug bar that doesn't taste good, you're not going to sell it. It's got to taste good as well as.
What would be quite interesting would be to get people to taste it, and you wouldn't tell them what is what. And then afterwards, like, you just ate an insect bar, and you're like, what is going on? My mouth, I need to throw up.
Maybe we should try it on an unsuspecting boss.
That would be really good. Have hidden cameras everywhere, and just
it was quite grainy, wasn't it?
It was the texture. It was crunchy.
It was just not.
But not in the way that cacao nibs were crunchy and nice and chocolatey.
It was just unpleasant.
I think in places like when where food is a necessity in that sense, you have to kind of eat that kind of thing.
I think probably eating the whole bug would have been more pleasant than eating a bar that had been created from cricket flour. I think it prolonged it, didn't it? I think it was a transition. I'm sure if you eat the real thing that's been cooked in a way that's tasty, that's probably a much better proposition.
They have that in Thailand, I know, in places in Southeast Asia where they just fry them in like big vats. And they're really crunchy, and they add a caramel. I've never tasted it before, but I assume they're quite caramelized and sweet, I guess. Funnily enough, actually, I read somewhere recently, about a year ago, but people were doing stuff with cockroach milk. Have you heard anything about that?
No, we're going to look into it though. There's a lead of a story.
I saw it on Facebook every now and again, and I didn't really think it was real, but apparently there's a thing where people are trying to make cockroach milk a thing, which I thought was very bizarre, but if there's a market for that, I guess people will take it.
Maybe if it's pasteurised.
Would you milk a cockroach?
That's one of the first questions I thought of. How the hell do people milk a cockroach? I mean, is there like a dude there with gloves on?
Maybe it's blended.
Maybe.
The whole thing is whisked into a liquid.
They must have like colonies of cockroaches there. Imagine being the researcher sitting there trying to like get all the milk from the cockroaches. That's good. It's pretty funny.
Innovative.
Yeah, it is. When you came into the lecture, Amanda, you were talking about productivity, which I thought was very interesting actually. And for a while, I always had this in my head. I didn't look at the research too much, but about what you eat exactly determines how productive you're going to be.
Well, there's a paucity of evidence, as I said when I was with you last week. But having said that, there is some, and productivity, if you measure it in terms of absenteeism and presenteeism, and there is some data to show that if you deliver well targeted nutrition programs to corporate in corporate environments, that you can improve people's that presenteeism is when you're at work, but you really should be at home because you're absolutely below par.
Yeah.
So maybe you've got flu and you should be at home, but you drag yourself in, but you're not productive. And actually, that HR figures tell you that's more of a loss to a company financially than absenteeism, when you're just completely off.
Yeah.
So if you can improve people's long-term health through good nutrition, you can improve those two things. And on the short term, you can potentially put right things like iron deficiency or subclinical anemia, which is going to mean women are working below par all the time. Concentration levels are low. You've got people who are maybe got low mood states because they're not eating very well and things like that. And that's difficult in an office environment. If you've got people who are below par with their mood or depressed, or it's really difficult. But it's difficult for them. It's also difficult for people around them. So I think helping people overcome those kind of issues, and sometimes that can be food that can help. So if you've got a folate deficiency or low folate or low B12, or that can affect your mood, and certainly low iron levels can. So if you can get people replete, then and help them understand about sleeping patterns and how to eat to keep energy levels going. So you've got two things. You've got the long-term benefits of eating well for productivity, and you've got the short-term benefits, day-to-day benefits. As Mel said, how food affects you on a day-to-day, literally hour-to-hour basis, because what you eat now is going to affect how you feel and how you perform 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, and it's going to affect what you want to eat at the next meal. So if you can get people eating in a really, not get them eating, but if you can help people to want to choose foods, it's going to once people feel different, as Mel said, then I think that choice becomes much easier. And I don't think it should just be about productivity. It should be about people feeling well,
well-being.
I think more companies have this holistic approach to their staff now, and we're seeing much more from the British Dietetic Association. They're coaching some of the dietitians are going into workplaces, aren't they, to talk about how employers can improve nutrition at work. And it's even as simple as drinking enough water. Good hydration. That can make a huge difference.
Definitely,
that can calm down office rage, for example.
Office rage. I've heard about that phenomenon before.
People just don't drink enough. They get stroppy and then they snap at people around the next desk.
I've heard the term hangry, where people get angry when they're hungry. And for a long time, I thought that wasn't real, but I've experienced it a few times where I've come back from the gym after a long session, and I'm and I've sat there and I'm completely depleted of carbohydrate, and I'm just sitting there so irritated, and my body's going through some enormous stress. I thought, this is real now, so I need to replenish, get some fruit going, and but I think the whole thing of productivity is really interesting actually, and so a few years ago, because I said I did a lot of weightlifting and a lot of training and stuff. So my diet was predominantly based upon eating a lot of protein, a lot of carbohydrate to refuel myself. And I didn't realise at the time, because I was eating so much meat, dairy and eggs, that I was always feeling lethargic, and I didn't actually realise. So once I cut it out completely and switched to a more plant-based diet, I noticed that my productivity actually increased. I was sleeping better. I was eating 8 to 10 fruits and vegetables every day. Looking at
you're a perfect reader.
And I did notice that I could concentrate longer, I could do more work. So whether maybe that's psychological, either way, it helped me quite a lot to do that. And I think when you're in an office environment, and like you said, when you're getting bombarded with muffins and cakes, I think in the lecture you said that there's a cake every day at work. That people bring in cakes every single day.
We've got a test kitchen that we share with Delicious magazine. That's very indulgent magazine. It's a beautiful magazine, but they test cakes and even full meals every day, so constantly we're just going up to test little nibbly. We call it hidden calories in our day, and they're like tiny crumbs of cake, but they all add up to a big slice by the end of the day.
It's so worth it. It tastes so good, right?
It does taste so good, but it does make you feel sluggish.
Yeah.
You get that slump in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
And
You're right.
yeah, so
Cool.
you know, so yeah, it does make you a bit sluggish, but we battle on.
That's good.
Yeah.
But that whole cake culture, and which edition is Jason's? Is it April?
I think it's in March issue, actually.
March issue of our magazine, Healthy Food Guide. Jason Michael Thomas, who is a food psychologist from Birmingham, Aston, he has written about how to deal with the occupational hazard of cake.
Okay.
And
how to say no politely.
Because that's often how you need to just arm yourself. I always think if buying a house is about location, good nutrition is about planning and planning and planning.
Oh,
and
definitely.
Planning can be as simple as taking the food with you, or it could be planning where you're going to go for your food, and it can be planning as in how you're going to deal with things like what happens when someone brings in yet another cake, and often people want you to participate for their own reasons. They want you to be part of the group, or that if you don't do it, they feel awkward. And it's very interesting.
It's a real pressure. I think I've got my tactic now after reading this piece is either say I'm going to take a piece home and eat it later, which I might nibble at when I get home, or share it with somebody, or I just put it and then I put it in a bin, because I think that's preferable to putting it in my body or in my brain.
If you don't need it, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Ending up around my waist.
But arming people with strategies like that is very important, because that's how we'll create change and go back to that time when people were
Well, cake was a treat and special. It always seems to be a birthday in this office, doesn't it?
Oh, it's my birthday. Wasn't it your birthday yesterday? Yes, it's today as well.
Just finding different ways of celebrating. So say in an office environment, just getting everybody together and saying, what should we do instead of cake? Shall we all put money in that we would have spent on the cake, and then at the end of the month we'll buy a great big something fruit, or should we have one cake at the end of the month, or should we all go out to the pub and have a drink, or go ice skating, or whatever?
See, that's a very good strategy, I think.
Well, it's just something to, but you have, but that would change the office culture, so nobody would then be under pressure. It would just be a different. But it takes a leader to do that, and someone who can
that's really true.
Inspire people to move in a different direction.
I think what's really important is meal prep. So. Because I train a lot, I make all my food in the morning or in the evening before. So once I've finished it, I take it with me everywhere I go. And I think doing stuff like that, little things like this, I didn't even realise there was a strategy doing it. And doing so, when people offer me stuff that I don't need to have, I'm just like, no, I don't need it. I've got my own food here. Or
which is the nicest way to do. You can just say, thanks, I've got something. That's a very polite way of declining, isn't it?
I think that's a really good strategy. I think you have good intentions when you get home from work, when I do, and then you're tired, so if you prep something the night before, you've got a soup or a casserole, it does help.
Definitely.
Absolutely. That's why celebrities are so lucky, because they have chefs.
Yeah, of course, exactly.
Running around doing it for them.
Exactly.
I had the delivery box. I think it was called Balance Box, and it came delivered. And it was breakfast, lunch, even the snacks were weighed out, and it was fantastic. And I thought, I'm going to have this for a couple of weeks, but it turned out it was too expensive. So it's the celebrity culture thing, that it would have cost over £100 for 3 days.
Really?
For 3 days?
But it was amazing. It was 1,800 calories a day, and you had a bircher muesli, then you had nuts, then you had beautiful salads for lunch. Everything was ready made, but fresh.
And I think that's a lot, that's interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine who's Italian recently, and he was saying, well, they literally, my friends tell me, as soon as they've had breakfast, they say, what's for lunch? And as soon as they've had lunch, they say, what's for dinner? And I think there's something in that, because I think your brain is a bit like a heat-seeking missile. If you know what you're going to have next, if I know I'm going home, I know tonight I'm having roast chicken. So I won't eat on the way home, because I know that's waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know so it's given me
save yourself.
It gives me a sense of security. And I think human beings, at the end of the day, we evolved to eat when we could. You couldn't put a woolly mammoth in the fridge.
Of course.
You had to eat what you killed or eat what you grew, because you didn't know when you were going to have food. And I think that, I'm sure that ancient drive to eat when you can is very much part of our psyche now. And I feel if you know when your next meal is coming from, it's more possible for you to decline food on offer at that moment for instant gratification because you feel you're having something later. That's just a perfect solution. That's just a bit of quad psychology, but
I think that's not. I think that more people should think like that.
Definitely.
It doesn't always work now.
Not if you're planning a takeaway. Obviously, tonight I'm having a takeaway,
which is okay every now and again as well. You know, sometimes you're going to indulge.
Yeah.
But I think it's best reprogramming yourself. Really, I think it takes 21 days to form a habit. So if you do it, you know, it's like people will fall off the horse, but it's always good to try and get back on there and just keep doing it, and sticking to it, because eventually you will get to a place where you're really comfortable doing that.
We were talking to Pete Cohen last week, weren't we, Mel? And he was saying that he's a behavioural modification expert, and he was saying that when you make a decision to do something new, it's fine if you don't do it for one day, but if you don't do it for 2 days, that's when you're in trouble. Yeah. So you need to get back on pretty quickly.
Yeah, not to beat yourself up if you do have that day where you have that cake or takeaway. Just start again the next day. No, it was really inspiring actually. So.
Pretty good. Wow.
Yeah. But I think we're going to have to get back to work, unfortunately.
That's fine, no worries. Thank you very much for your time, guys. I had a really
good to talk to you. Do you need any last questions you want to ask?
I did have a few more questions, but if you guys are not good for time, then I'm sure we can set up another time we can do one of the podcasts at all.
Yeah, it's up to you if you Amanda might have some more. I better get back to the
get back to the hot seat.
Get back to the seat. Yeah.
Get back. I have got quite a lot to finish off as well.
No, that's fine. I mean, we can set up another time, guys.
Yeah,
we can definitely do a second part to this.
Yeah. Maybe if you wanted to do a particular theme or we could.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I can ask some of the audience if you have any questions for you guys.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Good. Cool. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, guys.
And don't forget, it's Amanda's Facebook Live on Wednesday at 12:30. So do come and join us.
Great.
Yes, please.
Find out all about carbs. Find your information?
It's on our Facebook page, so it's Facebook/Healthy Food Mag.
Healthy Food Mag.
Yeah, just check. I'll leave you a magazine anyway, and
thank you.
Go.
Sweet. Oh, nice. Thank you.
Healthy Food Guide UK.
Nice. Yeah. Where can people find you, Amanda?
Gosh, I tweet at Amanda Ursell. I've just got a Facebook page which my friend set up for me, and Mel set me up with Instagram. So I'm a bit
You're multi-platform.
I'm slightly behind the curve. I tweet. No, that's my main thing. And I've got a website, so amandaursell.com, and obviously at Healthy Food Guide magazine.
Yes, exactly. You can see Amanda on our website.
That's great. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Lovely to talk to you.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you everyone for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed it, then please hit that like and subscribe button down below. Big shout out to Melanie and Amanda for joining me on the podcast today. If you guys are genuinely interested in getting some really exciting new recipes to try out, which are also healthy, then I'd highly recommend subscribing to the Healthy Food Guide. There's also expert nutrition advice for vegetarians and vegans. So to all my fellow vegans out there, it's a really good piece of practical information to use, especially if you're stuck for any recipe ideas. So, just want to say thank you again for listening, guys. I hope you all have a good day and have a wonderful week.